I'm the chairman of the Kenya Cultural Center, and I'm also the patron of the National Council of Elders. Today, I speak with a very, very heavy heart. I had given a press conference on Saturday about my case that is ongoing involving my companies, Bejo Amalgamated Limited versus Kenya Commercial Bank. And I had narrated how Kenya Commercial Bank sold our property valued at 3.5 billion. They sold it for 70 million. And they have never given us accounts up to today. I said the person who bought the farm, his name is Kamlesh Rahul, he bought the farm at 70 million in 2007, and the next year he sold it to the Shah community for 3.5 billion. And this is the money that has been used to bribe judges of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and the High Court over the years, and also to bribe officials of Kenya Commercial Bank so as to sell our property at a throwaway price. During my press conference, I mentioned that my lead lawyer in this case is Professor Mbobu Kyalo. And it is with a very heavy heart that I learned yesterday in the evening, another of the lawyers who is also acting for me called me and informed me that Advocate Mbobu Kyalo had been shot somewhere in Langata. It came as a big shock to me. Advocate Kyalo is a humble man, very humble, very affable. Somebody who is soft-spoken, never had him shout at anyone, and never seen him argue with anybody. And it's a despicable act to kill a man like that. I don't know who killed him or why. I cannot pretend to know that. But what I can state is, in my statement, I had said Mbobu Kyalo is my lawyer. And indeed, Mbobu Kyalo was one of my witnesses who was going to give evidence about how various judges have been bribed with a lot of money. And he was also the custodian of very, very crucial evidence. He was holding 4 affidavits from our witnesses who either participated or were privy to the giving of bribes to the judges. He was also a custodian of 2 audio recordings which were actually recorded when these judges were being bribed. It's a sad day, indeed a very sad day for this country, that we can lose somebody of the caliber of Mbobu Kyalo. He was a professor in law. I will not blame anybody because I really don't have an idea who killed him. But I have accused a cartel made up of the Shah community, Kenya Commercial Bank, and various judges in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and the High Court, that they conspired. I can call it a criminal gang. They conspired and they committed serious crimes. This was one of the men who was driving this case together with the evidence. Today, I reported to the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigations, Because I cannot access his office, they told me it's now a crime scene. I cannot access his home. So I reported to the DCI that these documents and this evidence was in the possession of the lawyer. So I have requested him. I have requested the DCI that whatever they recover in the process of the investigation, to give me an opportunity, because the evidence, my evidence, the lawyer put it in an A4 envelope. We sealed it together and he wrote my name on top of it. So I described the parcel to the DCI and I asked them if they come across such a package to please contact me so I can go and identify it. First of all, I want to send my condolences together with my family. Advocate Bob Kyalo, we are related by marriage very closely. So he was my lawyer and he was also family. And I am saddened, and I said my family and my condolences to his family. We of course visit them. But I will say this. This was a young man with young children. If that criminal organization that I have named is associated with his death in whichever way, I'll pray to the living God that he pays them blow by blow so that they don't find peace. Neither do their children or grandchildren find peace. Because I think it is the depth of evil to kill somebody because of monetary gain. I'm not saying I know who killed him. I'm just saying I had just exposed a criminal gang and I had said this is the lawyer who is leading this matter. So I feel it might be connected. But I'll leave the rest to the police. I've already reported to the police my connection with him. So I'll leave it to the police and we'll give them time to investigate and tell us the truth. I hope, well, my case will not stop. You see, my case, killing that lawyer does not help anybody. Because my case is one. There is no consent judgment. Right? It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't, even me, they can kill me. But unless they can produce that judgment, which they rely on, which they even quote today, in their reply today, the judiciary spokesman, Mr. Demo, is saying there is a judgment entered on the 4th of May 1992 in the High Court case number 1219 of 1992. So if that judgment is not found, it doesn't matter who they kill, they're not going to get out of that trap. But all the said and done, my case, my allegations against the bank, Kenya Commercial Bank, the judiciary, the 11 judges, 5 judges from the Supreme Court and 6 judges from the Court of Appeal, and the Shah community still stands. I still stand by those allegations. I have seen a statement by the spokesman of the judiciary, somebody called Demo. And it is flabbergasting because he says they deny every allegation I have made. They deny every allegation I have made. And he goes to explain what happened. And once again, he talks about a consent judgment dated 4th of May, 1992, in the High Court Civil Case number 1219 of 1992. He says that is a consent judgment that made them sell my farm. And that is a consent judgment that settled this matter. And once again, I am asking the judiciary and I'm asking Kenyans to support me on this. Let them produce that judgment. I am challenging the judiciary. They have written clearly in their statement by their spokesman that we entered into a consent judgment which settled all these issues. So I'm challenging them, as I have done over the last 30 years. Produce this judgment, produce this consent judgment. What is so difficult? This is a physical document. I have said the judge who was supposed to have recorded it, Justice Erastus Githinji, he has written a ruling, an official ruling saying there is no judgment like that. The police have investigated and said there is no judgment like that. The registrar of the High Court has written and said there is no judgment like that. The Law Society of Kenya has written and said the lawyer who is purported to be my lawyer, Mr. Menye, did not have a practicing certificate on that day of that judgment. So it is obvious there is no judgment. But even today, in the statement that they have issued today, they are still talking about a consent judgment which does not exist. So I will not cease, I will not stop until they produce that judgment to silence me.